I got serious beef with the MLB, and I have it all written down. Let's talk about it. The MLB just announced the MLB All-MLB teams, and there are some serious issues. Welcome back to Good Sports for You, where we are talking about good sports for you. Before we hop into it, I want to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Thank you so much. Now, let's chat. So I want to go over the All-MLB teams because they got some things right. On the first team, I'm just going to read them all out. We're going to talk about it after I'm done reading them. On the first team, at catcher, you had Cal Raleigh. At first base, Vlad Jr. At second base, Ketel Marte. At third base, Jose Ramirez. Shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. And the outfield was Judge, Julio Rodriguez, and Juan Soto. DH, Shohei Ohtani. Starting pitching, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Relief pitchers, Aroldis Chapman, Yohan Duran. Cool. Second team, catcher, Will Smith. First base, Nick Kurtz. Second base, Bryce Terang. Third base, Junior Caminero. Shortstop, Bo Bichette. Outfield, Cody Bellinger, Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong. DH was Kyle Schwarber. And starting pitching was Hunter Brown, Freddie Peralta, Christopher Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, Brian Wu, Edwin Diaz, and Andres Munoz. That is all well and good. So I want to talk about the things that they got right because they did get some things right. We're going to go position by position. I'm going to talk about the ones that I like first, and then I'm going to talk about the ones that I got serious beef with. Catcher, I really feel that they got it right. You had Cal Raleigh. Obviously, he was going to be the first team. He finished second in MVP voting. Take that as you will, but he was so good. Obviously, he was going to be first team. Will Smith on second team. Yeah, I think he definitely deserved it. You could definitely make an argument for Hunter Goodman there. Hunter Goodman had a much more complete season just because he played a lot more, but Will Smith had him beat in WAR, had him beat in all the rate stats, basically except for slugging percentage. Hunter had way more home runs, though. So it's a little bit of give and take there, but I'm totally fine with Will Smith being the second team. Cal Raleigh obviously deserved to be first team. Second base, I think they got basically right. Hitting-wise, Ketel Marte was easily the best second baseman that you could look at. But the other things, like Nico Horner had 6.2 WAR compared to Bryce Terang's 5.6 and Ketel Marte's 4.2. And Bryce Terang is a defensive second baseman. So if you're going by defense is the thing that matters, you should have had Nico Horner over him because those offensive numbers were very similar. So it's I got a little bit of beef with that, but not too much beef, so I'm totally fine with that, honestly. Maybe have put Ketel Marte at second team, but it's not that bad. At third base, I also didn't have too many huge complaints. Jose Ramirez was obviously going to be first team. Junior Caminero, though, on second team was a little bit of a surprise to me because Michael Garcia had a better season, especially in terms of as a complete player. He had 1.4 more WAR than Junior Caminero. And when I'm using WAR, I'm using Baseball Reference WAR, just so you all know. And the OPS plus was only a difference of 8%, so Caminero was only an 8% better hitter than Garcia was in total throughout the season, but the difference of 45 home runs to 18 home runs, especially at a power hitting position like third base, I totally understand it, so I'm not upset at it really at all. Outfield, the first team was completely correct, 100% correct. Obviously, it was going to be Judge, Soto, and Julio Rodriguez all put up absolutely phenomenal seasons. Second team, I had a little bit of an issue with Cody Bellinger getting it over Tatis because Tatis was a way better defender and the hitting numbers are basically the exact same. So why wouldn't you go Tatis there? Cody Bellinger. Yeah, so it's I get it. It's not a huge complaint, like I said, but the thing is when the offensive numbers are basically the same, you look at the defense and Tatis was just an objectively better defender. But again, it wasn't a huge complaint. At DH, they got it right. Obviously, it was going to be Shohei Ohtani. When I was looking at it, I was you know what? Maybe I'll be fun and different and say that actually Kyle Schwarber should have gotten it because it was only a DH award. And then I looked at the numbers. No, Ohtani was just better in literally everything. It does suck too that George Springer was labeled a DH. He was a DH primarily throughout the season because he had such a good season that I would have loved him to get some love. But unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen. Relief pitching as well. I think they got it down pretty darn good. I maybe would have had Edwin Diaz over Yohan Duran. That was my only thing that was a maybe. Duran, though, had an absolutely fantastic season. But Diaz did win National League Reliever of the Year. So it's what are you really valuing? But I get it. It's not the worst thing in the world. Munoz, I definitely think deserved to be second team. Chapman, I think, was the best reliever in the game this year. So I 100% agree with him being first team. And now we come to the problems. First base was an absolute travesty. And before I get into it, I want to remind everyone, this is a regular season award. This has nothing to do with the playoffs. Everything that Vlad did, which was amazing, which was incredible, should have zero impact on these decisions and these awards. I'm comparing him to Pete Alonso, Freddie Freeman, Michael Busch, Nick Kurtz, and Matt Olson. When it comes to WAR, he had 4.6. Freddie Freeman and Michael Busch and Pete Alonso all had less WAR. Okay, cool. Nick Kurtz had 5.4, and Matt Olson had 6 WAR. Way more. When you're looking at home runs, Vlad had 23, and mind you, this is first base, the spot where you're supposed to have your power bat. He had 23. Freeman had 24. Olson had 29. Busch had 34. Kurtz had 36. And Alonso had 38. He had 15 more home runs. When you're looking at RBIs, Vlad had 84. Kurtz had 86. Freeman and Busch both had 90. Matt Olson had 95. And Pete Alonso had 126. He had 42 more RBIs than Vlad Jr. And then when you want to look at the slash lines, Vlad hit 292 with a 381 on base percentage, a 467 slugging for an 848 OPS for a 133 OPS plus, which means he's 33% better than league average when you adjust for park factors and everything like that. Now, I don't want to go through the slash line for every single player, so I want to only look at the OPS and the OPS plus because that really what encompasses a complete hitter. Matt Olson had an 850 OPS and a 138 OPS plus. Freddie Freeman had an 869 OPS and a 141 OPS plus. Pete Alonso, 871 OPS, 144 OPS plus. Michael Busch, 866 OPS, 147 OPS plus. And Kurtz had a 1.00 OPS and a 173 OPS plus. That is 40 points higher than Vlad Jr. That means he was a 40% better league hitter than Vlad was. And he was second team compared to Vlad's first team. And like I said, all these other players, statistically speaking, were all better hitters than Vlad Jr. The only category that he led these other players in was hits, and he led it by 2. By 2, and somehow these other guys didn't get All-MLB recognition, but he did when he's worse in basically everything. If you want to look at total WAR, Matt Olson has him beat by 1.4. Kurtz has him beat by 0.8. If you want to look at like hitting numbers, like your more traditional things that you want out of a first baseman, home runs, RBIs. Alonso beats him in home runs by 15 and beats him in RBIs by 42. And then if you want to look at the slash line, the more analytical stuff, he is the worst out of every single one of the players that I just mentioned. And he's all MLB first team. It doesn't make any sense. Shortstop, arguably even worse. Bobby Witt Jr. is definitively the best and definitely deserved all MLB first team. There's nothing to argue there. He was incredible. Bo Bichette was all MLB second team with 3.5 WAR. I compared the WAR of a couple players here. Ellie De La Cruz, 3.6. Gunnar Henderson, 5.3. Trey Turner, 5.4. Jeremy Pena, 5.6. Francisco Lindor, 5.9. Geraldo Perdomo, 7. He was quite literally, in terms of baseball reference, wins above replacement, twice as valuable as Bo Bichette. And he didn't even get a second team. If he got a first team, honestly, I wouldn't have even been complaining. He finished 4th in the MVP voting. In what world is he worse than Bo Bichette? It's quite literally none. Let's look at OPS plus real quick. Bo Bichette had a 129 OPS plus. That's very good from the shortstop position. I'm not arguing that. Lindor, who's a better defender. Bo Bichette is also a terrible defender. Lindor had a 129 OPS plus. So the same thing. Jeremy Pena, 132. Geraldo Perdomo, 136. And he's a good defender. And if you want, like, games played, Bo Bichette was also hurt. You can't be an all-MLB caliber player if you're hurt. He played 139 games. Perdomo played 161 and Lindor played 160. So he played less time. He's a worse complete player. He's quite literally worth half the value Perdomo had. And his hitting is objectively worse. And he's a way worse defender. And somehow Perdomo was an all-MLB team, or even Francisco Lindor. It's truly outrageous how you have two slots to fill. You got one of them right because Bobby Witt Jr., yes, sure. You had like 5 other options that you could have chosen from. You had like 6 options total. And you chose the one that, in my opinion, is definitively the worst. Even Elly De La Cruz, in my opinion, would have been a better pick. Because like he steals bases a bunch and all that stuff. And he has a slightly higher WAR. But if you don't want to give it to him, that's fine. All these other players that I mentioned had a WAR over 5 compared to Bo Bichette's 3.5. Perdomo is literally double the value. It is an outrageous. And then starting pitching. Maybe had the biggest travesty of them all. They got a couple things right. Paul Skeens was right. Tarek Skubal was right. Garrett Crochet was correct. All those guys are easy All-MLB first teams. Christopher Sanchez, the unanimous second place in Cy Young in the National League, behind Paul Skeens. But after Paul Skeens, he finished second because he got every single second place vote because the writers all unanimously decided Paul Skeens was the best pitcher in the National League. Sanchez was the second best. If you want to think, okay, they're basically American League, National League's the same thing, Sanchez should be either the third or fourth best pitcher in the league this year. And he probably was. There is no excuse that Max Fried and Yoshinobu Yamamoto finished above him in the All-MLB team. There is literally none. Let's look at the stats. When you look at WAR, Sanchez had 8 WAR. Max Fried had 4.4 and Yamamoto had 4.9. Sanchez had over 3 wins above both of them in terms of WAR. Not in terms of the actual stat WAR, because that's a stupid stat for pitchers. Let's look at innings pitched. 202 innings pitched to 195 for Fried and 173 for Yamamoto. When you want to talk about ERA, the traditional ERA, which a lot of people say, oh, that's not even the biggest thing, blah, 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 blah. Because, park factors, all those things. He had a 250 ERA to Fried's 286 to Yamamoto's 249. Okay, Yamamoto was 0.01 runs better in less innings. ERA plus, which adjusts for park factors and all those things, he had a 176, so he was 76% better than league average, compared to Max Fried's 142, compared to Yamamoto's 167. When you look at strikeouts, 212, Fried, 189, Yamamoto, 201. Walks, Sanchez had 44 walks across the entire season, Fried had 51, and Yamamoto had 59. Sanchez was better in literally everything compared to Yamamoto and Fried. There is absolutely zero excuse for why he isn't on All-MLB first team. There's none at all. There's none you can make. If you want to argue in the comments, you can do that, but I'm telling you now, I don't see a world where it's any different. And the thing is, when it comes to these All-MLB teams, it's ridiculous because it's fan voting and media voting. It's 50% fan voting and 50% media voting. Fan voting should be for the All-Stars. I am totally in favor of the All-MLB teams. I think it's a really cool thing because like NBA does it, NFL does it, like other major sports leagues do it. The MLB should do it as well. I 100% think that, and I have believed that for a very long time. But if you want to make the award worth anything at all and actually have people respect it, you need to make the results respectable. And you can't do that by having people vote and having fans vote, because then you're going to end up with results like this, which is silly and stupid, quite frankly. It's honestly ridiculous. And the thing is, too, they had the voting going on in the playoffs. Like, start the voting up, I don't know, like a week before the season ends, whatever it is. Like, the stats aren't really going to change that much. Or maybe, you know what, make sure that the fan voting is only in like 3 days and have the fan voting count for less. And it says in the thing, we ask the voters to consider only the regular season. No one believes that. Are you kidding me? If I'm a fan and I see, oh, who should I vote for? Vlad just had this incredible series against the Yankees. Obviously, I'm going to vote for him. If Yamamoto, oh my gosh, he just pitched like so well against like who they faced. The Reds at first and then the Phillies. Oh my gosh, he pitched so well against these teams. Obviously, I'm going to vote for them. That just makes sense. So then you're punishing the players like Perdomo, whose teams aren't in the playoffs. And also, I know, well, Bichette didn't play in the playoffs, so it shouldn't really matter. I understand that. He also has a whole entire country behind him. Fan voting should be limited to the All-Star game. And I already don't like that, because like somebody like Hunter Goodman didn't get the fan vote. You had JT Realmuto above him in the fan voting when Hunter Goodman was doing so much better. And you aren't gonna expand the game when you're only appealing to these big markets, and that's all that fan voting does. And you already have enough people complaining that Judge won because of Yankees bias. Well, now you have Yankees bias also because you have Max Fried on the first team above of Christopher Sanchez when Christopher Sanchez was better in every way, shape, and form. It doesn't make a lick of sense, quite frankly. And it's honestly ridiculous. And I really think that this should be a thing. But something needs to change. Because fans don't know ball. Honestly, they don't. They're going to look at the players that they want to see. If I'm a Brewers fan, yes, I'm going to vote for Bryce Terang. Yes, I'm going to vote for Christian Yelich because that's my team. Unless they are players that are like way better, I'm going to vote more for my team. And then you have Yankees fans and Dodgers fans and everything skewing the votes. And that's not the way that it should be at all. Like, at all. And I mean, I don't think that media gets it right 100% of the time, but they get it more right than fans. In fan voting, it seems like archaic to me, quite frankly, honestly, because you have the fan bases are just larger for some teams. Like, it's just some of these results were genuinely unacceptable on how this even happened. And something really needs to change because, like I said before, if you want this to be a reputable award, which I really think that it should be an award that holds status, you know? Oh, I didn't have a great first half of the season. I was average, but I had such an incredible second half. You should get some recognition for that. But no one's going to respect it if you don't build it in a way to make it respectable. And what they're doing now isn't making it respectable at all, which is, it's so upsetting. And like, I still think that it should be a thing because I imagine that it would be great for like contract incentives, you know, because there are some things that are like, oh, if you make the All-Star team, like X, Y, and Z is going to happen. Oh, if I make the All-MLB team, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. That's the way it is in the NBA. I know that. So it's like something needs to change. And it's very frustrating because, like I said, some of these results were honestly ridiculous. As a true fan of the game, as somebody who is really watching and looking at everything, there's no way that some of these results should have happened. And now I'm just going in circles, and I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to end the video. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry that I was just yelling and ranting the whole entire time. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rant and yell, though. I appreciate it so much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. I had a great time talking to you. I hope you had a great time listening to me. But that's all I got for you, and I'm out. Peace.